So the developers said that they are in the process of finding a way to let Hanzo one-shot more characters. And in my opinion, even the absolute worst case scenario looks very good for Hanzo. So to sum it up, I am expecting that their plan is to increase the number of one-shottable heroes from 2 to a minimum of 7, and possibly up to a maximum of 20 out of the original 25 one-shottable heroes. And this will of course include Hanzo as well. The more evasive characters are most likely going to have some of their remaining HP replaced with armor as compensation, and since they said it's still very early, my best guess is that at most they will reduce the HP pool of just a couple heroes at the start of Season 11, and then maybe some more already at mid-season patch. But before we can look at the hero pool to find out exactly who will become one-shottable, let's first look at their criteria and some other very important things. So to start things off, their response to me explaining why Hanzo is not a good mid-range burst damage hero anymore was to say that Hanzo is still an effective mid-range burst damage hero, and that the projectile size buff and the armor changes both actually increased Hanzo's performance on the stat side. And this resulted in the response getting downvoted so hard, I didn't even realize they responded to me until someone told me. But there is some extremely good news in this response as well. He did continue with, "I do hear you on the loss of how good the one-shot kills felt, and that it's still very early, but they have been experimenting with adjusting health pools for some of the more evasive or high damage heroes." Experimenting with doesn't make it sound all that hopeful, but they wouldn't let us know about this unless they had decided to bring back at least some of Hanzo's one-shot capability. So considering that a straight-up HP nerf for evasive characters would just make heroes like Echo and Genji feel like wet paper, I assume they will replace some of the remaining HP of these evasive characters with armor so that they are only weaker against high damage characters whose shots are easier to dodge as an evasive character, while the armor still stops them from losing any survivability against unavoidable damage like shotguns, etc. And they never specifically mentioned that they will be doing this using armor, but considering the timing of this armor change and how well it solves the issue, it's pretty obvious in my opinion. But let's look at the hero pool to see what heroes are the most likely to become one-shottable. It's a safe guess to say that Bastion, Mei, Reaper, Symmetra, Torbjorn and Zen won't become one-shottable for various and obvious reasons. And of course Tracer and Widowmaker are already one-shottable. Genji and Sombra can both just leave the teamfight whenever they want. And of course Echo being an extremely evasive and high damage hero. And Hanzo of course high damage, at least once more characters can be one-shot. Kiriko is a clear choice as well, considering she has teleport, invulnerability and wall climb on top of having a faster time to kill than Hanzo. So this I would say is the absolute worst case scenario possible, and then moving on to heroes that most likely at least some of them will become one-shottable. Sojourn and Soldier, very fast heroes and high burst damage. I would be very surprised if they don't become one-shottable. Pharah could be, but I'm not sure since she kinda lost some of her airtime with the rework and I never really see anyone play her anymore. Junkrat has mobility and extremely high damage, but I just don't see him surviving with 225 HP. And same with Ashe. And Cassidy, extremely high burst damage, but also is usually played very aggressively, and I just don't see him losing like 50 HP and having 100 armor or something. From the supports, Baptiste, not really that evasive, but you know, has the super jump, self-heal, immortality, and once again a faster time to kill than Hanzo. And Illari, high damage support with an escape mechanism, so could be. Although even the headshot multiplier is only 1.5, so Illari is not actually that high damage. And then Moira, low damage, but really good self-heals and fade, plus the movement animation is kind of like budget Sojourn, so could be. But big questions are Lucio, it's like extreme mobility, but in the end it's Lucio. And also being able to constantly self-heal that armor back up might actually be ridiculously overpowered. And Mercy, also extremely high mobility, but hard to say how far they are willing to go with this. Like, both of these would make a lot of sense, but I just don't want to get my hopes up too much. Brig already has armor and 250 HP. Like, I don't see them reducing the HP pool and making her like, what, half armor, but who knows? Anna is considered very weak right now, but also at the same time, she can be really far away from the fight, and a standing still scoped in Anna surviving an arrow to the head is probably the most unfair thing in Overwatch 2. Life Weaver, I just have no idea, and kind of the same with Venture, to be honest. Like, I don't even want to get into it, like... But overall, this could easily be better than Season 8 Hanzo, considering it seems like the truck-sized arrows are here to stay. And then finally, I'm sorry, but I just can't do this anymore. I have gotten an absolute insane amount of hate, harassment and whatever for pushing the Hanzo changes and for rallying people to not buy any Hanzo skins, etc. Like, I know you all are doing your best to defend me, but there are just way more people who hate Hanzo and me in general than there are actual Hanzo mains. Like I know, like, just don't listen to the haters and whatever, but it's not a loud minority hating on me anymore. It's a loud majority, which means anytime I open my mouth, I will get people twisting my words and making up lies. Like, I've been here before many years ago, so I know the warning signs. Like, for example, I post a tweet talking about how overpowered pocketed Hanzo is. It gets like 500 likes, and then the quote tweets filled with lies, hate, etc. get close to 2,000. Like, these things have over 200k impressions, and that's how it begins. Like, maybe I'm overthinking it, but I can't take the risk. Like, for example, how for multiple years, when any sponsor, scout, etc. would Google my name, one of the first results was a fake story about how I am sexist and verbally abused a group of Mercy mains in practice range live on stream. Like, the same kind of issue with the Finnish community, for example. And like right now, Overwatch is unplayable unless I do like Sherlock Holmes level anti-Q snipe strats. And combined with Hanzo being less fun to watch and play, plus, you know, Overwatch in general becoming less popular, and of course the quality and the amount of content going down because of how draining all this is. Pretty much since Season 9, I've gone from having a dream of getting a loan and buying a house to just being worried that my career is over. So, as selfish as it is, I'm going back to being extremely careful about what I say and just focusing on my content. Like, of course I will still talk about the Hanzo changes, etc., but I just can't tank all the shit anymore. Like, I hope you understand. I apologize for going on a tangent. I just want you guys to know how I feel. So, you know, there's no weird stuff, whatever. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope I see you in the next one. Mwah.